top stories at 8. Wits protest march disrupted by students, and Ekuleleni mayor meets with angry Tembisa residents. Good evening. Wits University students disrupted a protest march by academics against the cancelled visit by the Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama. Academics in robes marched through the campus, led by Vice-Chancellor Professor Loyiso Nongatna. They held placards condemning the South African government, saying, "Stop imposing apartheid, pass laws," and "Why deny a man of peace entry?" The Vice-Chancellor battled to speak to the media as the students shouted him down.
That somebody who has been invited to visit our country has been made to feel not welcome to visit. It's not part of the African culture.
However, students called the protest a cheap publicity stunt, while they ignored the human rights of students and workers at the university. Wits SRC President Morris Masuta.
These PhD holders have no respect for human rights, and we have seen the continuous humiliation, the continuous abuse of workers, cleaners and students. Wits has now become one of the most expensive universities in this country compared to any other university. Year in, year out, they kick away not black or white students, working class students who can afford.
The South African Human Rights Commission says the government has a constitutional obligation to explain its actions in the Dalai Lama's visa application. The Commission says if the government fails to provide reasons and an explanation for its handling of the matter, it raises serious concerns about discrimination, a lack of commitment to transparency, and to enabling freedom of speech in the country. The SAHRC asked why it was that a well-known international figure who posed no security threat and had a record held in high regard by the international community had failed to have his visa processed in a quick manner. The visa would have enabled the Dalai Lama to visit South Africa this week to participate in the celebration of Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu's 80th birthday. Angry Tembisa residents are taking on the Ekuleleni mayor and his committee, questioning his leadership style. Mayor Mondli Gungubele is meeting the residents following violent protests over high electricity tariffs. The residents went on the rampage last week, setting alight police vehicles. They want Eskom and not the municipality to provide their electricity, arguing it will be cheaper. Reporter Abongilo Dumarco is there.
It's obvious that the community of Tembisa has had enough of not being attended to by the Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality. Individuals here are calling for the disbandment of the mayoral committee. Meanwhile, there's a huge police contingency around the Tembisa community hall. There has been no violence so far, and the meeting of the mayor continues. Abongile Tumago, SABC News, Tembisa.
Parliament's ad hoc committee, which has been set up to look at the list of nominees for the vacancies at the Independent Electoral Commission, has met today to look at the nominations. The 14-member committee is chaired by ANC MP Chief Batekile Holomisa, and its members are drawn from other parties represented at Parliament. Their task is to look at the list of 17 nominees who have been selected by a panel chaired by the Chief Justice. Holomisa explains.
By the 27th, if I'm not mistaken, of October, the committee must report to Parliament, because we want to avoid a situation where there's a stage where there's no commission, because the commission's term expires in October.
Further afield, the Afghan government says it's foiled a plot to assassinate President Hamid Karzai. It says the Afghan intelligence agency has arrested 6 people. Some of them are alleged to have links with the Haqqani network and Al-Qaeda. Recapping the top story, Wits University students have disrupted a protest march by academics against the cancelled visit by the Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama.